What is up, guys? Back with another video, brand new day. Back on the streets on the golf cart. All right, guys, now I'm on foot trying to get my 10,000 steps a day in. You know, the last video I posted, I was talking about if I should add VIG or DGRO to my dividend portfolio to have exposure to tech. And I mentioned that if you're young, you should probably just dollar cost average the S&P 500. You probably shouldn't even invest in dividends. And I explained my situation. I don't want to explain my situation on every video. So if you want to know what I'm describing, just find the video that says like VIG in the title. But I'm A/B testing titles. So YouTube has a feature now where you can A/B test titles. You can have like 3 titles and then it'll see which one gets the most clicks and then it chooses the winner. So that might not be the title. So, but it's the video where I'm talking about VIG and DGRO. So I want to talk about dividend investing, and I want to talk about SCHD, and I want to talk about yield on cost and the growing dividends. But I worry sometimes with a lot of people watching the channel that are younger, if I'm steering you guys in the wrong direction. Like I said, most of you shouldn't even be investing in dividends. If you have a long time horizon, you'll have a quarter of the portfolio size that you would if you just invest in a broad section of the US economy, like VOO or VGT, or, you know, this isn't financial advice, but whatever ETF you choose. And you don't have the tax drag of paying taxes on your dividends every time you receive them. Even if you reinvest them, because a lot of people say like, oh, I don't have to pay taxes if I reinvest the dividends. No, you still do. So just keep that in mind. Some people get confused because they're like, why is this guy investing in dividends? He's only 41 years old. Like, why isn't he all in on growth and then switching to dividends? But I explained in the video, my situation's a little different with my e-commerce business, my family, and I don't want to try to time it where I'm switching and it happens to be a lost decade or something. I really don't want to have a failed market timing attempt, you know, and regret it after working so hard to build my portfolio balance and build up the dividend income. But I'm just saying it again, if you're young, you probably shouldn't even be investing in dividends or SCHD. It's really meant for someone that's looking for income or wants to retire. I don't ever want to retire, but I want to have cash flow as a backup plan, because I have the lifestyle and the expenses of someone who is a doctor, but I'm a diesel mechanic, okay? And I figured out some weird way to get myself to this level. So I don't want to be a I told you so. I don't want to be a I told you he never knew what he was doing. So my goal is build another stream of cash flow. Originally it was with real estate. Now it's with dividends, just based on my life situation at the current moment and the real estate market. So I just want to make that clear for everybody watching the channel that's younger. I worry sometimes you guys are like 18 and you're buying SCHD, which isn't bad if you want, you know, if you want to focus on dividend income growth, but you're going to be leaving a lot of money on the table. You're going to be paying taxes every time you receive your dividends, and that money could be left in the portfolio and compounding, tax-free, unless you have your SCHD in a Roth. Then it might make more sense. You're not paying tax every time you get the dividend. So now that that's said, so you guys make sure I'm not trying to steer you into buying SCHD, because I'm really not. I'm just showing you why I chose it and why I'm not adding VIG and why I'm not adding DRGO, and I'm sticking with SCHD. I've talked about it before. I call it OPA, outcome, purpose, action. You got to really define your goal and to figure out what your outcome, the outcome you want is, for you to really know what kind of action you should take. So for me, the outcome I want is I want more money coming in than I have going out without me trading my time for money, and without having to sell shares, and without having to time the stock market. The other outcome I want is I want my income to be tax efficient, as tax efficient as possible and as passive as possible. The other outcome I want is I want the thing that the cash flow machine that I created to not be actively managed, to have to be overseen consistently. And I want that management to be extremely inexpensive. I don't want it to be expensive. So I want my expense ratio really low, like SCHD 0.06. So I'm making these videos half the time because I'm just thinking out loud. But I thought that my thinking out loud might help somebody with their decision making. But sometimes now I'm worrying that my thinking out loud might be confusing people and getting them into the wrong things. That's why I want to clarify that. All right, so I'm going to throw up on the screen. If you took $1 million, okay, today, and you put $1 million in VOO and you put $1 million in SCHD. Now this is hypothetical, and this is estimated annual return. The S&P 500 might crush this number, but I'm just going off after inflation. The average annual return of the S&P 500, we're going to say it's 8%. And we're going to say SCHD is 6%. SCHD might not get 6%, but this is with dividends reinvested. So after 10 years, here's your portfolio balance. You see VOO, you're going to have more money. SCHD, you're going to have less money, smaller portfolio balance. But my goal is income, dude. I mean, I want to have a huge portfolio balance, but I don't plan on selling the shares. I don't plan on selling it. It's like I'm staking the money so it produces income. That's why real estate's the best, because you can put the money in there, never sell the asset, but borrow against it. But I'm not getting into that right now. I love real estate the most, but just with everything I got going on in my life, I'm focused on dividend income right now. Maybe one day I'll be talking about I'm buying a triple net property or something. Who knows? Tomorrow, I bought a McDonald's. Free cheeseburgers for everybody. So I'm gonna throw up on the screen some benefits of what I like about dividend investing when it comes to actually selling the shares and just real world actually using the income, being able to access your income. And then this is the total amount of dividends you've collected over the 10 years. You can see you've collected a lot more dividends from SCHD. Keep in mind though, you do pay tax on the dividend, so you're slowing down the overall growth of your portfolio. And then here's your annual income projection based on the dividend growth rate of VOO and the dividend growth rate, the 5-year average dividend growth rate of SCHD. Now keep in mind, this is not adding anything to your portfolio. This is just reinvesting the dividend. So you're going to start with $36,000 a year and you're going to end with $82,000 a year. So if your outcome that you want is mainly income, that's great. And then the perk is that if SCHD, the principal balance, does appreciate, then that's kind of a double win. But if your main goal is income, it's not a bad setup. The other thing I really like is I like the fundamentals of SCHD. I like its current PE ratio. I like that I'm buying something that's not really overvalued. Appreciate you guys watching the channel, but I am by no means trying to push you into buying SCHD. If you're young, I'm telling you, focus on the long runway and the largest annual rate of return you can get. You got to use the rule of 72. Like Buffett, every 3 to 4 years his money doubles. If you don't know what the rule of 72 is, look it up. Divide your average annual return by 72, and that's how many years it's going to take for your money to double. I'm basically doing the same thing. I'm just trying to find the dividend ETF that has the highest compounded annual growth rate for the dividend, and I'm divide that by 72, and that's how long it's going to take for the income to double. Same system, I'm just focused on income. But I'm not saying this is the way. I'm trying to use more math than speculation. We'll see what happens, but I appreciate everybody watching the channel. I'll see you guys on the next video.
Ooh. All right. Woo. This is light work. Come on, spill the tea, yeah.